You guys ready for the trick? It's about to come up. Here we go. The key to successful writing is the pre-write. Getting your ideas down on paper before you actually write. If you do the pre-writing correctly, the actual writing part is the easiest step. Have you ever painted your house? You know, how much prep went into that first stroke of paint? You had to sand it, and you had to dust it off, and you had to lay down the tape, and you had to lay down the tarp, and you had to do all that work. And when you actually started painting, that was the easy part. Okay, it's the same idea. You do the heavy lifting first. You get those ideas down on paper. Because if you've ever been writing and you just got stuck on what to say, it's almost like you have to start over, because you got to think of what to say, and then you got to amp up again to get that writing going. Well, get your ideas down on paper first. And it all begins with the paper setup. All right, you ready for the trick? You got your paper? All right. This is how I teach it to my students. Okay? Now, you're going to say the magic words. Okay? When I say the magic words, you're about to write a paragraph. You're going to have them go to their backpack, take out a piece of paper, set it up like I'm about to show you, and then they're ready for the topic. Okay? So, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to say the magic words. You're about to write a paragraph. You teach them to get out a piece of paper and set up their paper like this. Name and date. It's always nice to label your work. Being homeschool, it's easy to know who's turning in that writing. But when you got 30 students, you want their name and date on it. All right, they're going to label it pre-writing. A lot of people, a lot of homeschool parents are accountable to a body. You got to submit work that you're actually teaching writing to keep your status as a homeschool parent. Well, a lot of these groups like each step of the writing process labeled. And so you put pre-write at the top of the paper. Then you're going to write one main idea with a 1 underneath. Draw a circle in the middle. And put a line down the center of the paper. That's it. That's the trick. That's it. Do you think you can handle teaching your children to set up a paper like this? Do you think they can handle remembering how to do this? Well, after I've shown them to do it, I say, turn your paper over and try it. Try it on your own. So they turn over their paper, and they try it, and they might have to look up again. And so they try it again. Okay, how'd you do? Make sure they did it right. And then I'll say, okay, magic words, you're about to write a paragraph, and I make them do it again. They take out a piece of paper, they try to do it without looking, they set it up. All right, how'd you guys do? All right, very good. All right, turn it over, do it again without looking. And they do it again, they set up their paper. I give them a day or two to just practice the paper setup. It takes about 5-10 minutes of practice, and then they got it. Okay, so now they've learned to set up their paper. How terribly difficult is this? I teach writing to the GATE students, the very top of the top, and I teach to the RSP students, the ones who need a little extra help. They could all do it. They all learn this in minutes. And you might be thinking, well, how am I going to take this and write 3 to 5 page research reports? We're on our way. So they set up their paper. Now, everything about writing a paragraph is right there. They don't have to memorize a whole lot, because now when you give them a topic, they know it says to think of one main idea. A paragraph's about one main idea. And you're going to burn that into their heads. That is a major part of it. A paragraph is about one main idea. I'll go around my classroom and I'll say, what's a paragraph about? One main idea. 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 Everybody, what's a paragraph about? And they all yell, one main idea. You burn that into their head. Every day when we're writing paragraphs, I start with the magic words. You're about to write a paragraph. They take out a piece of paper, they set it up, and I'll do it every day until I know every kid in the class can set their paper up like this. And then before I start, I'll say, what's a paragraph about? And they'll all yell, one main idea. So I burn that into their head. Well, when you start to actually write the paragraphs, you're going to do it with them. And whether I'm teaching 3rd grade or 12th grade, I start the same way, because it's that trick that's going to transition into the essay and research reports. Okay, well now you just fill in the information. What is your one main idea? So you're going to give them a topic. So let's say you're writing about George Washington. Okay? You say, okay, you've set up your paper. Now we just read about George Washington. I want you to write a paragraph about George Washington. And, well, let's see. You're supposed to think of one main idea. Are there 1,000 things we can say about George Washington? Well, of course there are. We could write about him as a businessman. We could write about him as a general. We could write about him as president. There's limitless things that we could say about George Washington. But we're just writing a paragraph. And in a paragraph, you've got 5 to 7 sentences. That's it. So you've got to narrow it down. Okay, so what is one main idea that we could say about George Washington? And you're going to train them to start thinking of one main idea. What is one thing you could say about that topic? If you're doing social studies and you're doing, okay, write a paragraph about a famous person. Okay, they picked Thomas Jefferson. Okay, well, what about Thomas Jefferson? Okay, one main idea. So what is one thing we could say about George Washington? Well, the book we read about George Washington really talked about a lot of his leadership skills. So, okay, George Washington was a great leader. Now, what does every sentence in this paragraph have to be about? George Washington being a great leader. Could you put information in here about his favorite horse? No. Is that about him being a great leader? Would you do it about how he grew up in his family? Not really, unless you're doing it in the context of how he became a leader. So you're going to fill this circle with details about what made him a great leader. Okay, so you're going to collect the information now. All right, we're collecting, these are things that made George Washington a great leader. He was chosen to be leader of the Continental Army. He organized a successful spy network. He ran a successful plantation. He was first president. Crossing the Delaware was a good symbol of his leadership skills. These are all things we read about in our book about George Washington. And so these are the students feeding me these ideas. Okay, so now do we have plenty of information to write a well-organized paragraph? Yeah, so we're ready to go. So now the students know that we have to have a topic sentence. And what's the job of the topic sentence? The job is to tell the one main idea. The writing just told them what to do. My first sentence, oh, I need to tell my one main idea. Well, wait a second. Have I already written my one main idea? George Washington was a great leader. Does that sound like it would make a great topic sentence? Absolutely. So their first sentence, they write right here, George Washington was a great leader. Oh, and then as the students get good at it, you'll encourage them to see if they can spice up their topic sentence. Okay, because for my third graders, that's a brilliant topic sentence. But if I'm teaching 7th grade, well, George Washington was a great leader is kind of simple. So let's see if we can spice that up. We've had many presidents in America, but one of our greatest leaders of all time has been George Washington. Oh, that's a little better topic sentence. That's spiced up a little better, a little more intelligent. There you go. So their topic sentence is already done. It's right there for them. Okay? So you can see the paragraph. I used the details from the cluster here to put in my paragraph. So you can see all of these sentences relate to the details in the cluster. George Washington was a great leader. Even before the American Revolution, he ran a successful plantation and made a great deal of money. Well, let's see. Where's the plantation? There it is there, and there's the sentence there. During the Revolution, he kept the army together with important campaigns such as this famous crossing of the Delaware River. Oh, I used that one right here for that sentence. And then you just keep going with those. So look at my closing sentence and see if it's related to my one main idea. George Washington's leadership skills helped shape our great nation. Here's that word, leadership skills. That was my one main idea. So there you go. Everything they need for the paragraph is right there. Now, they can learn the one simple trick in a day. But you're going to take a few weeks to practice it. You're going to model it for them. I have an ebook called How to Teach the Paragraph. It tells you day 1, do this, say the magic words, shows them how to set up their paper. You're going to have them memorize the 5 parts of a paragraph. You're going to burn. Paragraph is about one main idea. So it gives you step by step. Day 1, do this. Day 2, do this. Day 3, do this. So depending on the age, 3rd graders, you may take all year to do it. 5th graders may take about a month. My 5th graders, I started at the end of September. They were writing paragraphs on their own without any help from me by Halloween. It just didn't take that long. They picked it up right away. You know, for middle school students, they may need just a couple days. You show them, you have them practice it a few times, and now they've got it. They're ready to move on. Okay, so that's it. That's the one simple trick. You start off with one main idea. The paper setup.